On this episode of the Tough Juice podcast, I had none other than three-time NBA champion, my little brother, JaVale McGee. And we talked about so many things. Three-time NBA champion, about his journey from Washington, growing up in Flint, being in Chicago, not being heavily recruited. We talk about having a strong foundation with his mother, Pam McGee, and about how she raised the bar so high and how he had to obtain certain goals and things that he's still striving for because of the excellence that she presented in front of him. Clear case of seeing is believing. We also talked about his show, Life Inside the Bubble, and the journey of that and what he plans on doing going forward with his NBA career. Make sure you subscribe to the Tough Juice podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or my YouTube page, or wherever you get your pods. Yeah, congratulations, brother.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Another one.
Third one. Unheard of.
Hey, let's go right into it, man. Thinking about where you come from, and we're going to dive into that too. But right now, being in the moment of being a three-time champion, like, how does that feel?
I mean, you can't really explain it, man. It's an amazing feeling. It was an amazing feeling just being a one-time champion. And then back-to-back champion, and then 3 out of 4 years you're a champion is an amazing feeling, and it just shows hard work really pays off. That's about it, man.
And are you? It's crazy because when I got later in my career, I was like 12, 13, 14 years in. I'm like, all right, shit, I need to try to find the perfect situation where we realistically got a shot every year. Right. Are you looking at those opportunities, or are you just a product of being just in a good situation at the right time?
I'm definitely I 50-50 to where I want the opportunity to win, but I also want the opportunity to play and show what I can do and have those opportunities on the court. So I took those into accountability when I went back to back at Golden State, and I was like, I can come back and Golden State again, but it'll be for the minimum and in the same role of coming off the bench. So I had to bet on myself going to the Lakers the next year. And I feel like we actually could have made it to the playoffs that year if Brian wouldn't have got hurt, if everybody wouldn't have got hurt, really. And then they got AD this last year, and I was still there. So it was just a blessing because I did have a great season last year, which allowed me to continue over into the championship season. So I mean, just putting the work in, and it's an amazing feeling, yeah.
Yeah. How often do you reflect on the beginning? Like when you think about, not probably being heavily recruited early on, being in Chicago, the Flint days, like that whole process, and then eventually coming into the Wizards and, people not knowing where to plug you at, what you want to be going forward. Like, just walk us through that whole process.
I mean, I think about it all the time. Just coming from Flint, like you said, not highly recruited anywhere. The main thing when I was coming out of high school, I just wanted to get away from home. I always stayed in the house. I was always a homebody. I was always around my mama, or I was just like, I want some freedom. I want to just go somewhere. So I tried to go as far west as possible. And I liked film at the time, so I wanted to major in film, go to a film school, and USC is the best school for film school. So that's where I originally wanted to go because my mother went there also. But they wanted to redshirt me, so I also wanted to play. So, and that's just what I was saying. I've always been about opportunities, and I felt like Nevada was as far west as I can go and have the opportunity to play. So my sophomore year when I got to start, I stepped up and I got drafted. And then I went to the Wizards, had some great vets, Antoine Jameson, Gilbert Arenas, fun guys, but in the long run, hard workers. You for example, I've seen you go to dinner late night, 10 p.m., blah, 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 and then after dinner, go work out in the gym, go to the Wizards facility and get some shots up. So just being around that work ethic definitely impacted me in a positive way. I wasn't winning for the Wizards, so I got traded to Denver, And then when I got to Denver, we went to the playoffs multiple times. We had a 57-win year, and I got my first contract there. Just working hard and winning, and that's when I really figured out that you get longevity in the league when you win. That was the time in my life where I was like, okay, if I want to do anything, if I want to last, if I want my career to be anything, I got to win. You got to make the playoffs every year, and everybody eats.
Do you think that? And I'm glad you brought up Denver because, bro, like you and Coach, y'all was coming in when we was in DC, and I observed you watching, right? I observed you watching, and I was like, yo, he picking up, he understanding what it takes to be consistent in the professional in this league. But I felt like when you went to Denver, you know, they rewarded you this contract. So it
Right.
was expectation. But I felt like they didn't give you enough leeway to continue to kind of grow into who you was going to become because you was different. You're like a big that can run, you can dribble the ball, you can do a lot of interesting things, and you have to be, you know, just groomed and molded in the right way. I felt like we missed out on that and watched him because the ball was in everybody's hand.
Mm-hmm.
But when you went to Denver, I think I thought you was supposed to be featured a little more, but I felt like they gave up on you a little bit too soon.
For sure. When I got to Denver, I was in a different mindset of, I just got traded. So I had that feeling of, this team didn't want me. I got to show this team that I'm supposed to be here and what I can do. So I got to Denver, and I think it was maybe the first game that I played that I was like, I got off waivers or whatever. I got like a game-winning off the free throw line tip dunk or something. And from that moment, I was like, okay, this is somewhere that I really can be. But I feel like they had me in that spot of, he's athletic, he can run and jump, but that's all we're going to use him for. We're not going to expand this game to get a mid-range jumper or three. We're just going to keep him in the dunker, him and Kenneth Fareed. We can just run this and do it this way. Don't get me wrong. It worked. Yeah, keep you in that box. It worked to win games, but me personally, I don't feel like I grew as a player, especially on the offensive end or defensive end. I've always been pretty good on defense, but on the offensive end, I don't think I grew. And then I got injured, so that just really messed it up to that point.
How important is it? And I'm glad you brought this up because injuries and, like you said, developing and growing. How important it is, or is it for you to have guys on the sideline that kind of been through the grind and understand what you need to get better at during the process of growing as a player?
It's extremely important. Not having the right people around a player can, for one, lower their confidence in themselves, and change their work ethic to where, for example, when I was in Washington, somebody told me, I think it was Gil, he told me, he was like, yo, in this league, all you need to do is run, jump, rebound, and block shots, and you'll be all right. So I took that to heart, like, okay, I'm gonna get extremely well at that. I'm gonna do that to a T, and I definitely excelled immediately in that. But I don't feel like I ever had that opportunity to expand. Like, okay, what about this mid-range game? What about this and that? It was more, no. We don't need you to do that. We just want you to do this. We just want you to do this. And after a while, you're like, okay, well, they're not letting me shoot the three, so why am I practicing the three? It doesn't make sense. So in turn, it just takes away your confidence in your own self when you know. For example, in college, I was shooting 28-30% from the three my sophomore year, like shooting that thing. Like, I really didn't dunk as much as I did when I got to the league.
Either, right?
Huh?
You was never hesitant either to shoot it, right?
Never. I shot everything in college. It was no hesitation. But when you got to the NBA, it's like, hey, it's that oh, you shoot a bad shot, we taking you out mentality. So it's a total difference. And if you're not in the top 13 at lottery pick vibe to where they're like, go do what you need to do, we're gonna give you the green light on everything, then you can get caught in those boxes of, we just want you to be this player and this the player you have to be for the rest of your career.
When did you get a glimpse of, wow, like a coach or a developmental guy like observing you or observing a talent and then like molding them and grooming them where you was like, okay, damn, like I finally see what I need, in this league? When did you first get your real glimpse of that?
Of a different player?
Or yourself?
I don't feel like I've ever had that really. I've had more coaches be like, I know exactly what you can do, and I'm not trying to make what you can't do better. We just want you for what you can do.
Your strengths, not your weakness.
We need your strengths. We don't need to strengthen your weaknesses. We just want your strengths. We want you to run the floor. We want you to block shots. We want you to protect the rim. We want you to play defense and dunk the ball. That's all we need you to do. And I've never had a coach come to me, except I would say not this past season, but the year before in the Lakers. Coach Luke Walton. I've had conversations with him, and I feel like this is the first coach where I've really sat down and had a conversation with, like, yo, I want to do more. And he was accepting of that. It was a short leash, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like, oh, go ahead, do everything you want. But he was definitely drawing plays up for me, giving me the ball in the post, running plays for Bron to come off the screen, because he knows Bron's vision is amazing. So he's going to be able to get the ball to where it needs to be. He would let me shoot threes in certain situations. So the confidence that Luke put in me on the offensive game, at least, was definitely one of the things that I really appreciated about him.
Yeah, that's amazing, bro. I want to stick to basketball. Playing with someone, talking about the history of LeBron James and what he's done in the league. Can you just talk about playing with him and then playing alongside the Splash Brothers and Steph Curry, the success that you had there?
Yeah,
of a lot of similarities.
Playing with the Warriors is a system game. Especially being in my position as center. So with the centers, we know our roles. Like I said, there's a role you have to play in every situation. So on the Warriors, as a center, I'm a screener. I'm a rebounder. I block shots. I screen and roll hard. And also I'm a off-ball screener for Clay and Steph. Just knowing where I need to be and knowing where I need to be around the rim when Draymond has the ball, because Draymond's an amazing passer, and the communication that the whole team had was amazing, and the way that them boys shot the ball was just. I've never played with nobody where they shoot the shot and I'm low-key not even looking for the rebound. I'm like, nah, that's going in. I'm going the other way. But, I mean, I'm a hard-working player, and that's really my niche to go to the offensive rebound. So that's why I feel like with them, the defense even thought they were going to make the shot. So they're a little hesitant. So it opened up a little bit for me on those missed shots and those offensive rebounds. With playing with LeBron is different just because it's a singular person who knows so much about the game of basketball. His basketball IQ is crazy. The way that he'll know, oh, if we run this play, then that player on the backside is gonna make a cut, and then that player will be open over here. It's just amazing being a part of it and seeing the things that he sees, and also seeing all the attention that he draws to himself. And still gets his buckets, gets his assists, gets his rebounds with everybody looking at him. So it's definitely, and it's also amazing just seeing his off the court work. The treatment that he does, the weights that he does, just the preparation is really serious.
There's an exciting new podcast out from Gimlet, Resistance, inspired by the summer's protests. These are new stories from the front lines of the movement from Black Lives, told by a generation fighting for change, hosted by Saidu Tejan-Thomas Jr. Resistance is out on Spotify. Take a sneak peek and listen here.
1, 2, 3, boom!
On May 29th at 10 a.m.,
I got a text message about a protest from a friend. Grabbed my bag, had my goggles. I knew what to do.
I put on some pants because I was wearing my pajamas.
Covered my entire face, combat boots.
Took our bikes, got on the train, and we just hit the streets.
I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go.
When people all around the world first started going outside and protesting this summer, I'm kind of ashamed to say I was on my couch playing video games. I convinced myself that I was staying home because I didn't want to catch coronavirus, but honestly, I was afraid of being let down again. We've been here before. I know I have. I've marched, I've yelled, and yet we keep ending up right back here again. So how come when protests started this summer, people kept saying over and over again, this time is different? What were they talking about? What were they seeing? So I went out. From Gimlet, I'm Saidu Tejan-Thomas Jr, and this is Resistance, a show about people refusing to accept things as they are. People putting their lives on the line.
I got spat on, kicked, called the N-word.
They started pulling out their batons.
They started charging at people.
And the next thing I realized, I had like 5 police officers beating me up.
People becoming leaders.
Everybody! They are trying to strike fear in our hearts!
And people becoming targets.
These motherfuckers knock on my door at 7 a.m.?
Eric, you're the one making this difficult. We're here just trying to get you to come outside.
My first instinct was to run.
And some people, like me, who've been feeling hopeless for a long time now, are suddenly finding reasons to smile again.
Let me see that black joy, baby.
And low-key, they're turning the movement into the move.
It's like the Summer Jam or Coachella of protests. I'm just saying, like, it's a vibe.
I've followed this movement for months now, and honestly, I still have more questions than answers. Like, how can we make sure this time really is different? What can we learn from the people who've been here before? And how do you keep on resisting when everyone else stops showing up?
Look at everybody going back to normal, man. What the fuck for? This ain't normal.
Resistance premieres October 14th. Listen for free on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's Black Lives, baby.
Hey, I saw something that you changed or probably done your whole career, but you start documenting more, like your preparation, like going into the gym. People like let people see like you getting it in the process of getting prepared for games and the season, off season. Was that something important for you to do? And you wanted to show like other teams so they could get a different evaluation of you?
Definitely. Unfortunately, people had a bad view of me, maybe about my work ethic or what I wasn't doing, or I didn't work hard, or I was lazy. Just a lot of names that were stamped on the JaVale McGee brand that weren't true. So I figured the only way I can combat that is to show them every fucking day I am in the gym working. And I'm recording this on my iPhone too. It's not like I got a production team or nothing. I'm recording every one of my workouts on my iPhone. And at one point I was editing it by myself too on iMovie on my phone. I would literally just chop it up, put the music behind it, post it on my Instagram and do it myself. Like, it's easy and every day too. Like I lift every day, but people in their minds, they're like, oh, if you don't show it, it didn't happen. You ain't really working. So I was like, all right. So at one point I just filmed every time I lifted, every time I worked out, I filmed it and I would post it on my Instagram. And I knew it wouldn't be a distraction for anyone because I'm playing basketball, I'm working out. So it's not like, hey, why are you doing all this extra? No, I'm showing you exactly why I'm doing this and the hard work that it takes to be a champion, I guess.
That was so dope, bro. I was watching. I caught myself watching. I said, you know what? That's like growth and development at its finest. I said he gets it. Like he know what it's about, being true to the craft, being a professional. And then like, I know that you realize this, but your platform is so massive. You got a ton of followers and everybody, like it's a lot of young fellas out there trying to be the next JaVale McGee. And everybody's not going to be, LeBron James and, Steph Curry and all that. They're unicorns in this space. But, with hard work and the proper due diligence, you can, provide for your family, be generational wealth. Is that something that you think about too when you're going and using your platform to show the visuals?
Yes, definitely. Just because, like you said, it's only one LeBron, it's only one Steph, it's only one Clay. And these guys come every blue moon. So you got to realize that it's 450 players in the NBA. So what about those other 400 players besides the top 50 superstars? I like showing you that you don't have to score all the points or get all the rebounds. As long as you're in here, you're working hard, you're in here helping your team. You're in here in encouraging your team. You're on the bench, turning your team up, making sure everybody's locked in, being a vocal leader. It's just a lot of stuff that comes with basketball that you really don't know in high school. In high school, you're just like, we play basketball, then we go home. We play basketball, you go home. That's how basketball works. But it's so much more. It's so much more so much more of a mental aspect to playing basketball than you would ever really know unless you play it at this level.
I gotta, rewind and go back to the beginning before you guys went inside of the bubble. And there was a lot of things that was happening around the world. We saw the death of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, countless others. We saw what happened in Kenosha, close to my hometown with Jacob Blake. And I want to get your thoughts on just your observation, what you was feeling at the time, and going inside of the bubble. One, did you think that you would have a season, a second half of the season? Did you think that the bubble would work? And then two, did you think like everything that you was feeling as a black man, like would these things fall by the wayside?
So one, when we had the 3-month hiatus of the COVID where they canceled the season, they weren't updating us with anything. Like They did nothing. I think we found out we were going back probably 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks before. Like, okay, you're gonna go. We figured it out. We doing a bubble in Orlando 2 weeks before. Like, damn. And then everything was closed. The Lakers facility was closed. So we had to think fast and like basically change our whole routines to where it's like, okay, I'm used to going into the Lakers facility early. Practice at 11. I'm getting there at 8:30. I'm getting my treatment. I'm getting my sauna. I'm getting my stretching, my weightlifting, my plyometrics. I'm getting everything done at one area, which is making it so I can be there from 8 to 1 or 2 and get everything done. Then, and we live in LA also, so now we have to go to, I got to go over here to North Hollywood to lift. And then after that, I got to go to Chatsworth to go play basketball. And it just extended your day, but it also just put time on you to where like we could be doing so much more if we had the facilities. But it was 3 months of just up in the air, like figure it out. So, and then 2 weeks into it, we go to the bubble. 2 weeks after 2 weeks, they tell us we're going to the bubble, and we go to the bubble, and it's just a whole different world. It's just totally different than what we're used to as being NBA players.
Yeah. What was the biggest difference? Like when you entered the bubble, like what was you like? Damn, like I don't have access to what? Like it
was like being in college to where like when I used to live in the dorms to where like you have one room. You know where your room is. When you're in college, you go to classes, then you go to practice, and then you just do the same thing over and over. Unless your parents got money or something, then you can take your car that you have. I ain't had no car in college. So I'm in the bubble. We don't got no car. We go. We see the same guys. We see our teammates every day. We see the same staff members. We every day for 90 days, over 90 days, like 100 days for real. And we do the same thing over. It was getting monotonous at one point to where you're just in your room and you're just like, man, like I'm on a resort. I should be happy, but I'm not. I'm here for 3 whole months. And I appreciate the fact that I get to play the game of basketball, the game that I love, but it's just not the same and it's different.
Damn. As far as like the observation of the social issues happening outside the bubble, was that something you were concerned about as an athlete and as a black man? Like, all right, let me just go back to playing basketball, or should I be out in Flint or somewhere in one of my communities where I'm from, protesting? And
I heard guys say like, I don't feel like we should go to the bubble because it takes away from the view of this and that. But before people started putting their names on the back of their jersey and all the vote and respect us and everything people were putting on the back of their jerseys, before that, when people were saying that, oh, I don't think we should go, I was like, what do you mean you don't think we should go? If we're not LeBron, Steph, and people with 20 million followers on our Instagram, so I feel like our biggest voice will be when we're playing games, right after a game, if we can this person got shot. I don't like what the cops are doing. Defund the police. Just in interviews, and we did that for sure. But I'm referencing before we got there. I was thinking this like, why do people think that we wouldn't have a bigger voice? And I feel like the NBA did a great job of putting the Black Lives Matter on the court. All the things that they did, and to make sure that we had a voice and it was on TV, primetime television every night that we were playing. I really appreciate the NBA for taking that step, because I feel like we definitely had a better voice being in the bubble than outside the bubble.
Yeah, that's strong. And, I'm glad you brought that up, because when you think about the voting initiative, I think that all the guys using their platform to drive voting in their respective states and cities, counties, when you think about, the symbolic recognition, it went beyond that. $300 million, $3 million a year endowment from the association. They created a lot of economic inclusion things across the board, Black coalition groups, et cetera. But what do you want to see personally going forward, or have you seen enough from the NBA?
I just wanted to see it continue. Season on, and not just in Black History Month. I feel like it should be an all year round thing. It shouldn't be the month with the least amount of days in the year. I feel like we should be doing this all around. Every year until everything's right, and I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. So I just feel like the NBA needs to keep fighting, keep doing everything that they're doing, and just keep pushing. We got Donald Trump out of office, but I feel like the fact that the NBA was pushing everybody go vote, we had a lot of people who had never voted before got to get in there, vote. See, it wasn't a hard process, and really just push it. And I feel like the NBA did a good job, and I feel like they just need to continue doing that.
And someone else that did a great job, man, got to pivot back to you. You did a remarkable job at documenting, your life and your everyday inside the bubble. And, my life inside the bubble was crazy. I think that, from viewership standpoint, every episode that you put out, you get like 500,000 views and something. How was that process? And now that you're not in the bubble, and if the looks of it, it looked like you're not going back in the bubble, what are you doing with that vlog?
I'm just growing the process was amazing. Just being able to, I've always been the person to, I think I brought a camera to I think we went to Germany or Berlin or something. My rookie year, I brought a camera in and I was filming stuff, but that was before YouTube. We really knew what YouTube was and what the point of YouTube was. So I didn't post it or anything. I was just filming and documenting things. So I've always been that person. So when I got the opportunity to go to the bubble, I was packing up my cameras and everything, and then I asked I have a video guy who does all my edits for my YouTube and my Instagram and all of that. And I asked him, I was like, "You think I should bring a camera?" He was like, "Yeah, bring one and just film what you're doing." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. All right, I'll do it." And I filmed from getting on the plane to the bubble, and I filmed not every day, but I filmed a lot of days just being in the bubble. And I posted that first episode. The first episode went crazy, I think 1.8 views or something. And I was like, okay, people really want to see this. So after that, I was like, cool, I'm just keep filming. And I filmed everything. All my teammates were excited about it and were cool with being in it, which was dope. And I was just really excited about the fact that people wanted to see the insides, the behind the scenes of how it is being in the NBA.
Yeah, and you know what? I thought it was amazing. And speaking of behind the scenes, and I don't want to say if for you, it's not going to happen again. But let's say if the spike and all this stuff continues, and I know that we have a foreseeable season coming up, but if players are presented with the bubble concept again, do you think guys will be all in on going, or do you think it'll be some type of drawback?
I think there'll definitely be a drawback, but in the long run, I feel like guys are more worried about their financial status and the advancement of their family. So if that's what we have to do, I feel like I feel like the guys who are good, they got their bread, they've had multiple contracts, they're good, they're not worried about it. But these young guys, they need that money. They need the money to take care of their family. So they're willing to do what it takes to go play basketball. And then in the long run, you also got to think, like, people were out here working at coal mines and building buildings, and they still got to go to work during COVID. So we can't go play basketball during COVID. So it's just a give and take, I guess. But definitely no one wants to, I don't think. That's not something someone wants. No, not at all. No one wants to do another bubble. Because we, in the long run, we want to see our families, and we want our freedom to do what we want to do. We don't want to just be locked up in our rooms and COVID test every day.
In the podcast Nice White Parents, reporter Hannah Jaffe-Walt, you may know her from This American Life, started looking into a school in her neighborhood after her kids became school age in New York City. Hannah examines this public middle school traditionally filled with Black and brown students. After a number of white families arrived, she investigated the school's history and finally realized what kept getting in the way of making the school better: white parents. Nice White Parents is made by Serial Productions, a New York Times company, the same people who made Serial in S-Town. Launch CTA is now through 8/19. It's available everywhere, wherever you get your pods. Binge CTA 8/20 and beyond. All episodes are available wherever you get your podcasts.
I know it's a lot of conversations out there, a lot of trade talks about, players on the roster are supposed to be coming back to the roster in the foreseeable short-term future of a lot of players. Just, right now, in a perfect world, where would you want to be going forward?
I mean, in a perfect world, I want to be on a championship contending team. That's about it. I like I said, the last three out of 4 years, I've won an NBA championship, and I don't want to go to a losing team just to do it. I just want to stay positive and keep working hard and make sure that I'm putting myself in a position to grow my legacy and stamp that McGee name as a winner.
Yeah, you're definitely doing that, bro. 3-time champion. And, last few questions I got for you, just as I'm thinking about legacy and I'm thinking about what you're doing with Jug Life. Can you just go into, like, how that concept came about? And two, like, I haven't been invited to a baseball game and shit yet. I'd love to do that. And then, just talk to me about what that whole concept and what that whole mission is about.
So Jug Life, I started Jug Life. Well, Jug Life is me and my business partner, Kez Reed's charity. We build water wells in Uganda. And we also teach kids in America and all around the world the importance of drinking water and living a healthy and active lifestyle. So it started, I was in Denver, and I had talked to someone, and it was like, you got to drink a lot of water a day to be an elite athlete. And I wasn't really worried about drinking water like that. Like, I was drinking water, maybe 2-3 glasses a day. But then it was just something clicked, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this challenge. I'm gonna drink a gallon a day. And then I decided to write on it #Jug Life on the bottle. So I started putting it on Twitter, Instagram, and people like tweet me back like, I'm on it too. I'm gonna drink a gallon a day just because you doing it, blah, blah, whoa, whoa. So that's what it originally started. It was just like, you know what, I'm gonna try to get as hydrated as possible, because water definitely helps you with so many things when it comes to your body and health. I'm just trying to do that just to advance myself and being a better basketball player. And then my business partner, Kez, he came to me and was like, I feel like we could expand this brand and make it into something bigger. And he came with the idea of building water wells in Uganda. And I was all in for it. And then from there on, we took off and we made it happen.
Yeah, I tell Kez what up too, man. Can you talk about the importance of, having business-minded people around you? LeBron has, Maverick, and he's done a remarkable job. Some people not seasoned in the space, and you're particularly young when you come into the space. But why is it so important to have people like that in business?
It's extremely important. As a basketball player, we know how to do one thing, and that's to play basketball. Some players, for example, Andre Iguodala, are really good at talking to people of different cultures and tax brackets than even NBA players, billionaires, and knowing exactly what the lingo is and what we're talking about and how to invest in this and invest in that. So personally, I feel like every young guy coming into the league needs that one guy that's their day-to-day guy. They're hanging out with them. They want to go to a party, blah, blah. They have that guy. And then they also need another guy who's maybe not there yet, but looking to grow themselves into being that business savvy guy who can talk to investors, who can talk to different businesses on your behalf as a player and know exactly what you're talking about, and also understand how to move the leverage of your brand. I definitely don't think a lot of guys don't have that guy. They just have a lot of yes men around them, guys who go pick up their laundry and drive their car. And it's real. And I had to figure this out myself. With Kez, I had been hanging around Kez for probably my whole career, probably at my second year, and then on. And we never realized it until we got to Golden State, and he was, and I really let him into the world of, okay, I want you to be with me every day. And he was with me every day, and he was making those connections that I wasn't able to make just because I'm on the court. He's on the sideline talking to this investor, to this business guy, and just building my brand without me even, with me on the court working, doing my job. So you got to build your team. You got to definitely, as an NBA player, you got to build your team because you're a business. So you got to have those people in your corner the same way a business has employees.
Yeah, I'll be remiss if I didn't bring Queen Pam up, your mom. Can you just talk about the importance of having someone in your corner as firm and solid as she's been? Believing in you, probably even when you kind of lack the confidence in yourself, her just laying down that groundwork in order for you to become who you are today.
Pamela McGee, one of the GOATs, one of the greatest women basketball players ever. She's in the Hall of Fame. My mother went to USC, won championships there. She won championships in college. She won gold. She won gold medals in the Olympics, and she won a WNBA championship as a coach. So just coming from behind that is just pedigree to where she's always on my head and always have been. Like, you can't say nothing to me until you win a championship. I won my first championship. She's like, okay, you got a championship. Cool. Won my back-to-back. She's like, dang, all right. You got 2 NBA championships. That's good. So I got 3 now. She's like, all right, I got to pass the torch. You done did it. I can't beat that. So I mean, but it's always good to have that person in your corner, whether it's your mother, father, brother, sister, who will cut the bullshit and tell you what it is. They'll tell you when you're not playing well. They'll tell you when you're bullshitting. They'll tell you when you're not working hard enough. They'll tell you everything you need to know on a real level, to where it's not a gain for them or lose for them. They're just telling you what's real. And I feel like everybody needs that in their life. And luckily, my mother was that person for me early on in my career.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm so glad you brought that up. And pretty much you led me to my last question, which is legacy. And when you think about your name, when you think about the McGee name, when you're done playing this game of basketball, when you hang them up, ultimately, what would you want your legacy to be? What would you want to be remembered for most?
Truthfully, I would want to be remembered as a champion. I feel like that's the highest feat that you can have, is just winning an NBA championship, especially playing in the NBA. I feel like that's the point. If you're just playing just to make money, that's not really fulfilling. The thing about it is you want to win that championship, and then everything else will fall into place like dominoes. It's the McGee legacy was passed on from my mother, who was winning. That's all she was doing in her college career and her WNBA career and her high school career. So just passing that on to me, and then I'm gonna pass it on to my daughter. I have a daughter now, and she's extremely athletic, tall and slender, and she's only 4 years old. And I just look at her like, oh man, you're gonna be a problem. I don't care what sport you play, you're gonna be a problem at it, just because you got the lineage of your grandmother being a beast, your father being cold, your auntie is in the WNBA. Like, so it's just the McGee legacy and the McGee lineage is very important to me, and I can't wait for those times to come. I mean, I can't wait, but it's definitely going to be great when those times come.
That's strong, bro. Hey, how old is your daughter?
4. Just turned 4.
Okay, let me ask you: Did you watch the election and the whole process with Kamala Harris and her being appointed to VP?
I didn't see it. I wasn't watching it when I think I was. Where was I? First of all, it took too long. Why? I always thought
it's still going on. Just so you know, it's still going on. Shit.
It's still going on. So
we still count votes.
No, this is what I'm saying. Like that was a crazy length of presidency I've ever seen in my life. Like I thought the president was supposed to be minimum 2 days later. Like, okay, we know who the president is. So I wasn't in front of the TV watching it when it happened. I got informed over Twitter. But it's definitely an amazing thing that now my daughter can definitely have the ambition of I can potentially be a vice president of the United States, and technically I could be the president if anything happens to the president. I would never wish that on anybody, but technically I can be the first or the second black. Well, my daughter's black and Latina, so the black Latina president. That's just amazing.
That's cool, man. Hey, man, I just want to say I'm proud of you, brother. 3-time champion, come a long way. You still got so far to go.
Appreciate it.
Our platform, man, on the Tough Juice podcast.
Definitely. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Yep. You safe out there.
Have a good one.
You too.
Peace.